Follow-up to the NYC landlord that was living in her car. NYC tenant who allegedly owes thousands to landlord says she's no deadbeat. A Brooklyn tenant who was accused of forcing her landlord to live in her car by milking emergency COVID-19 rent rules insisted that she is no deadbeat. "I know I owe her something. I am willing to pay her," Sharita Peterson, 33, told the Post on Wednesday. Shauna Eccles, 30, the landlord of the Humboldt, Brooklyn home where Peterson lives, claims Peterson hasn't paid her $20,000 in combined back rent and interest, and that she had to live in her car. Peterson, however, says that any money trouble between the pair is just a big misunderstanding. There's a great chance it's no big misunderstanding. Either the landlord was paid or she was not. Not too much to misunderstand there. This is her place. It's not like I want to live there for free, but she is not communicating with me, Peterson said. From the previous story, there was some communication that the landlord and tenant had where the tenant was going to move by December. What other communication is needed? You are going to do what you stated or not. Peterson also shot down Eccles' claims of homelessness. "She is not homeless. She still lives in the house," Peterson said of Eccles. "She uses the back entrance, and her other family members use the front door, the same door that I use. The building looks like there are 2 units side by side. I can't say how many apartments are in the multi-unit. However, from the previous article, I got the understanding that there were just 2 units in the building. If the landlord is renting to the elderly person in the unit the landlord used to live in, and the squatter is occupying the other unit, it would be hard to understand that someone would believe that she lives in the building, unless the person is just lying about her living in the building." Peterson, a single mother of 3, moved into the $2,100 per month 2-bedroom apartment at Eccles' 2-story East 91st Street building in Carnassus on August 1st, 2019. The tenant says that the City Department of Social Services paid her rent for a year. In mid-May last year, Eccles sent Peterson a notice telling her that her lease would not be renewed when it expired on July 31st. The dates and paid time frame is hard for me to get a grasp. August 2019, the tenant started renting. The tenant told the landlord she'll be leaving by December 2020. Since in the last article, the landlord hadn't been paid in months by that time. The tenant claims social services paid her rent for a year. Which year? Well, it had to be in 2020. If the tenant stated she'll be leaving in December 2020. If that was true, then how did the landlord not receive rent for months? Could it be that she got rental assistance post-2020? It could just be more lies from a squatter that would face no legal backlash if she was even caught lying. Ever since, Eccles has been trying and failing to evict Peterson, who has filled out a state hardship declaration form, claiming she's been financially impacted by COVID-19 crisis and is unable to move. Peterson has until at least May 1st before any New York housing court would consider a case against her, thanks to the state's pandemic-inspired eviction moratorium and recently enacted housing regulations. "If I offer to pay, how am I considered a deadbeat tenant?" Peterson asked. "It's apparent Eccles just wants her property back. It's not about the money." Offer to pay? Just don't offer to pay on one's debt, you just pay it. How much does the tenant think she owes? How many months does the tenant thinks were not paid? The number we have are $20K in back rent plus interest, and rent is $2.1K. We know the tenant started renting in August 2019, and the article is from March 2021. To make things easy for me, and it's not too important anyway, I'll just make the old amount to be 21,000, which is 10 months of non-payment. From August 2019 to March 2021 is 19 months. That's about 50% of the time the person was there, rent was not paid. The tenant claims social services paid a year, which I would be guessing March 2020 to March 2021. If we believe the landlord was not paid for months prior to December 2020, it wouldn't make sense. The social services rental assistance started in early 2020. And if they paid a year, then the claim of the landlord not getting paid months before 2020 was a lie, in which it gains the landlord nothing because the middle class has the most to lose in court and the government goes after people with some money or belongings. Also, as a side note, my former squatter thought she didn't have to pay ever again just because she got 5 months of rental assistance. After the corrupted sheriff department let her stay the first time when they had came by, the squatter was stating that I did an illegal eviction. And well, back to this article, maybe in the mind of this tenant, she too thought that she didn't have to pay until, the post had contacted her, and now we get all these messed up dates. Peterson explained. After the lease was up, she did not communicate with me at all. She would just say, "Speak to my lawyer." Another confusing statement. During a legal case, it is best for communication to go through the lawyer and have things documented. There is nothing wrong with that, and it's very appropriate to handle the situation in that manner. The lawyers should have a professional demeanor and no emotional ties to the situation. Losing money is a very frustrating, and debt will start piling up. Like you got marriages that will end because of money issues. Companies fall due to money issue. Everything goes down the toilet due to money issues. And why should someone have to talk to the person that is putting them in debt or even financial stress and don't care, and that person that doesn't care about them putting them in debt? Well, back to the statement. When was her lease up? December 2020. The agreed date to be out, or the non-renewal month of July 31st. Given this date in this article. So there's just a lot of dates going out. Who knows? Also, there's no year associated with that. I'm assuming that was July 2020, and the tenant was on a 1-year lease. Without being told directly, I only have guesses. So this person was staying without a lease for over 8 months. I think what she is doing is evil, added Peterson, who says she worked as an officer with the city administration for children's service for a year before she resigned in March 2020. Peterson claims she got another city job in law enforcement, but the hiring was put on pause due to the coronavirus pandemic. This is just horrible. The person, she only had a job for a year, quit for a chance of a better job, and she didn't even get hired for it. When you quit a job, the idea is that you already had accepted another job. If she quit her job in March 2020, then she could not have been paying rent since May or April. I doubt a single mother had a job in the administration for children's services who has 3 kids having enough of any type of savings. She left her job without security and at the risk of not only herself, the landlord, and also the kids. This person isn't considerate of others or think about the weight of her actions. I'm receiving pandemic unemployment benefits. I would give Eccles whatever I can, said Peterson. I'm unable to move. How can I move with pandemic unemployment? not the landlord's issue. That's something an adult should consider before quitting her job. Eccles says she thought she was close to a legal settlement with Peterson in December, and believing Peterson was about to vacate, she rented the home's first floor to an elderly woman and moved out to temporarily live with friends. The landlord should have not done that. The homelessness is partially the landlord's fault. Don't trust others. Eccles has also claimed in court papers that Peterson brought a new car during the pandemic, a charge Peterson declares is also false. I did not buy a new car. It's a 2017 Chevy Malibu I brought in March 2020, a week before the shutdown, and I wasn't even responsible for paying my rent at that time. My rent was paid up until July, Peterson said. More silliness. The person quit her job in March 2020 and brought a car in March 2020. This adult person wants to play a word game, right? This person stating she didn't buy a new car, but it's a used car. The car was new to her, and that's good enough. She had spent money to obtain a car while not paying rent. Also, this person brought a 2017 car in 2020. Now, when I brought my new car in 2022, it was a 2016 car. I doubt the person looked for the cheapest dependable car she could get if she even needed a car in New York. New York supposedly has a good public transportation. Now, according to this part, rent was paid up until July, which should be 2020. This person stated social services paid for a year, which supposedly ended July 2020. So it should have started in August 2019. The rental assistance program should have started in early 2021, but I could be wrong. The U.S. Department of the Treasury states the program started January 2021. If that was true, then the prepaid rent was not for EREP. Maybe it was from her tax rebate. Either way, it seems odd and I don't believe it. For where I'm at, you shouldn't take prepaid rent due to having to pay interest on that money. Peterson described the entire situation as more than a nightmare. After Eccles got $28,000 from DSS for the whole year, she tried to bully me to move so that she could move her family in, Peterson claimed. She wanted that lump sum of money. The landlord got $28,000 for a whole year. So $2.1K, $2,100 for 12 months would be $25,200. When I got EREP, there was no overpaying. They did the exact number. Again, this seems to be just another lie. If the landlord wanted the lump sum, that would make sense. The deadbeat tenant didn't pay during her lease for several months, and there's a great chance she was not paying after the lease ended in July 2020. So for the year of 2020, she was getting nothing, the landlord. Eccles refused to comment when reached by the Post on Thursday. Her attorney did not immediately respond to a request for a comment. Good for the landlord to not comment. Communication should go through the lawyer. This squatter seems to just make things up. I understand sometimes people get dates and numbers off. At the time with dealing with things, you are not noting them down and you think things are taken care of. It's the same with agreements. Like the landlord thought this squatter was going to be out by December 2020, but thieves cannot be trusted. Anyone that is willing to steal your property is possibly a liar as well.